Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to the 12th video of this Rust series. Today we are jumping into the 14th chapter of this Rust book. So today what we are learning today we will explore how we can publish a crate to crates.io, how we can build customize builds with release profiles, as well as how we can set up workspaces to manage the bigger projects. So there is another thing that we are going to build. So one of you, since one of you since one of you commented on in my previous video that we have to build a CLI project with ClapGrade. So the Narayan, I guess. So he commented on my previous video that bro, make a video on ClapGrade. It is a great way to make CLI app on the internet. There is no this such kind of video available. So we are going to build a CLI project with ClapGrade. So let's just start by building the CLI project with ClapGrade, and then we will move on to the chapter 14 of this Rust book. So let's move on to the code. All right, before moving forward, let's just get or do a quick recap of our last previous video. So we have covered iterators, closures in our previous video. We have also learned about what are iterator adapters, why the iterators are lazy or why they are lazily loaded kind of thing. So we have already covered these such kind of topics in our previous videos. So if you haven't watched that, you can go and watch these videos. So let's just install the cargo project. All right, just let me just go into the documentation. So we have docs.rs clap. So let's how I got the access to this documentation. Let's just quickly write clap and then crates.io/crates/clap. So from this uh, crates website, I got, yeah, right here you can see the documentation of docs.rs/clap. So from here, as you know that create clap or the clap is kind of a CLI parser, command line argument parser for Rust. So let's just quickly install the project, the create in my project. So all right, this is installed now. If you want to verify it, you can go in the Cargo.toml file, clap is equals to version, and then features are available like drive. We will also discuss about what are features or how we can access the features. Let's just quickly, all right, let's just quickly get the code of our Rust CLI project from because I'm not working on directly working on this previous code. Instead, I'm just copying this directory and will paste it into the lecture 12 directory, so that because we also have to publish the crates or this project. So let's just quickly paste it right here. Let's just quickly delete this and then paste it right here. Oh, my bad. All right, let's just quickly paste it in the root directory. All right, we have main.rs and we have lib.rs. Let's just quickly start with, all right, we have an error, Rust CLI, because let's just go in the cargo.toml file. The name of the package is lecture underscore 12. The hyphens will be replaced with underscore. So let's just lecture underscore 12. Save it and we are good to go. So there are no any errors now. Let's just quickly run the command cargo run to test whether all these were all right. You must have to pass the two arguments, query and the file path. So from where this error is coming from, this is coming from this lib.rs file we have. If args.length is less than 3, then print the error. So let's just quickly comment these lines, and then let's just, all right, let's go back to the documentation of ClapGrade. And on the first line, they are using use clap and they are importing parser from ClapGrade. And then let's just copy this code and then we will review how we can use or parse the CLI arguments. Copy this. All right. Save it right here. And then let's just quickly run the command cargo run. All right. So here we are. We have an error. The following required arguments were not provided. Here you can see we haven't passed or we haven't uh, added any error in the code that, let's say, if any of the arguments is not being passed, you have to throw an error. However, it's not done yet. It's by itself, it's thrown from the clap crate. So we have an error that minus minus name, this argument is required and I haven't provided it yet. So let's just quickly go in the code. We have drive parser is imported from the clap crate and debug macro command version about long about what are these, we will discuss about them in a while. Struct arguments, and then we have first argument is name string, which will be short and long. What are these, we will discuss about them in a while. Num and then the count, what does this count will do, number of times to repeat or the greet. So in main function we have arguments, args, and the parse function, and then for we are looping over or iterating over the arguments, how many times, the count number of times. Let's just quickly test this out. Cargo run minus minus and minus. So we have already discussed that to pass to pass an arguments, we have to pass double hyphens to let Rust know that we are passing some arguments right after this command. So let's say Hadi driver and then minus minus count would be 2. All right, perfect. So hello Hadi header is printed 2 times. What if I don't want to pass count? What will happen? The code is running perfectly fine. It's perfect. So what does this mean? We have passed default value. So what does this mean if we pass the um, this argument or this macro to the default value p? What does this mean? This will automatically considers that it is not required by users to enter. If users are not entering any of the argument like count, so it considers this default value 1 and then it will loop over it one time. So let's just quickly remove it and then run the cargo run command without the count argument, and we should have an error. All right, perfect. We have an error that minus minus count is missing. So it is pretty much easier than previous implementation that we are manually passing or adding the validations into our code. However, now we don't have to do this. The clap crate will automatically parses the arguments and will automatically adding the validations by itself. So these are the these are the benefits of using libraries and publishing libraries by ourselves as well, to help other ones to or other developers to use it and make their life easier. So let's just quickly remove all these code. So these comments will be used for the documentation. We will also explore how we can build this documentation in just some with just a single command. Let's just remove all this stuff and then customize it according to our requirement. Query will be required, query string, and then we will have the file path will be of type string. Perfect. Mm, right now we don't have count argument, we don't have name argument. So let's just quickly remove this and then uncomment this piece of code. Because we are not getting any arguments by ourselves. So let's just quickly remove this and get the arguments from clap tree. So now there is an error, mismatch types expected reference. reference vector of type string and then found reference arguments. We are passing the reference of arguments. However, the type is vector string. So how we can access these arguments type? So let's just quickly do one thing. Let's just see whether clap create provides some kind of macro or so yeah, we have type. Let's just save it and then let's quickly see what we have. Use a new generic type parameter constrained by args the argument. So it's saying that you have to expected a type, found a trade. We have to pass the types whenever we are uh, providing or assigning types to the arguments of a function arguments or function parameters. So instead, the args is a trade. So it cannot be possible that we can pass trade to a type. Let's just quickly do what they are suggesting. Args, and then let's just quickly do this thing. Now, let's just remove all this stuff. We don't have it. Now, here we have cannot index into a value of generic reference of this generic type. So let's just quickly remove all this stuff and remove this. Let's just quickly see what we have. Print ln what we have in args. Now here T doesn't implement debug. T cannot be formatted using because it doesn't implement debug. Error. Consider further restricting type parameter T with trade debug fmt debug. So here we have a lot of work to do. So instead, what we can do, we can restrict this trade by assigning kind. Let's just quickly do one thing. Pub trade, and then we can create a trade by ourselves because we do know that we are expecting two arguments from CLI, the query and the file path. So let's just quickly do one thing. Let's say config args, and then let's just pub function will be get query. It's perfect. Or just do query, which will expect self and return, let's say a string. Pub function, which will get query, and another thing is file path, self, and return string. This is perfectly fine. All right. But config args, and let's just quickly implement this args trait on this tree. Let's impl config args for uh, args. Now we have, let's just pass, let's say function query, and we have to pass the self. What self would be? Self, and then return a string, and then self dot query. Let's just save it and file path and file path. Oh, now here we have errors. So instead we can pass the args, config args, and then we won't be able to print this thing. Instead, we can do one more thing. Let's just quickly let query is equals to uh, args dot, and then we have a function query right here. Let's just quickly print because now we have a string returned from this query. So let's just print ln. We will also explore one more thing. Let me just test this out. Query cargo run. We don't want minus minus query would be, let's say, hello, and then minus minus file, sorry, file path will be, let's say, phone.txt. So we have an error not found in this scope. All right, let's just import it quickly. Cargo run. All right, so we have a lot of errors right here. No field file path on type. We don't have the file path on the config dot. Let's just quickly go here, file path, and then all right, we are quickly just comment all these functions for now. And here, move occurs because self.filepath has type string, which does not implement on the copy trait. So we uh, cannot move out of self.query, which is behind a shared reference, self.query on line number 19. So here we have, so instead we can do, or we can also clone it. Yeah, right here we can, let's just clone it. Here we are, minus minus query. We haven't, we have passed file path with underscore instead we pass with. So here we have hello printed, where we, from where we are getting this hello, it's just printed from this new function. So I have passed hello as a string and then it is printed hello on CLI. What if I don't implement trait, and if I directly want to access this, what will happen? Let's just quickly comment all this stuff, quickly get here, and let's just pass, pass, pass the type or the trait args. And let's just see what we have in args now. We have clone from into to on, trying to update from arg matches, update from arg matches mu. So clap crate won't give you all the stuff within trade. So you have to manually do this stuff by yourself to pass the trade type. Trade is kind of a type to allocate to structs. So implementing this trade, we are implementing this trade onto this args struct. So I think it's kind of a hard topic or confusing, but it's the way we have to do it. So right now we have already implemented this. Let's just quickly let file path is equals to args dot, and then after pressing the dot we have config. Let's just pass it to config. What we have, we should not pass to a string because it's already has the type string. Now mismatch types expected, uh, curly braces, or you can say found config. Try adding a return type config. Okay, we are returning config and we haven't passed any type. So it's perfect. Let's just quickly read it. Read file and then search query. Run the command. What we have now. Failed to read file, no such file or directory. We don't have the poem.txt file. Let's just get it from the older code, paste it here, and then let's just run the command. Cargo run, and here you go. So we have hello in line 1, we have hello in line number 3. So it's just a matter of some lines of code. We just have to update some lines of code, and then we are pretty much done with this stuff. So let's just quickly remove this piece of line. Let's just review all this stuff. What if a user don't want to pass any file name? So we can also do that. Default underscore value underscore t is equals to, let's just say, home.txt. Save it. And instead of passing the file name, let's just run this command. All right, we have passed dot to string. Where is to string? Let's just quickly how we can pass the string. This is a new thing. We have to explore this. Let's just quickly go on to the documentation of the clap crate. And here we should see whether how we can pass the string with the within the macro. So arg macro, command macro, create description name, version. So let's just see create. Oh, okay, it's perfect. Create structs. We have arg struct, arg group, id match. We have enums, traits. We have arg trait. So what this arg trait has, we have already reviewed that arg trait has two yeah, right here. Args, argument args. We have argument args for update group ID. Argument args for update. In the args, argument args append to command so it can instantiate self via matches. This is used to implement command flatten. And here you go. Macro rules create name. Let's just quickly close this out. And here we have this. All right, I had to do a Google search for how we can directly pass the string. So instead of passing underscore t, we have to pass without this, and we are good to go. Let's just remove this and let's just pass default underscore value. It will consider form.txt as default value, and then let's see what. Yeah, the code is running. We have passed cargo run minus minus query and hello. So it's pretty much it from this thing. And I guess we can let's just see whether the cargo test is running or not. Cargo test and the command is running perfectly fine. Two tests passed, zero failed, and zero ignored. So let's just quickly go back to the documentations. So the the documentation of the clap crate is pretty much good. You can get whatever you want. The arg group, what's arg group, what is arg matches command and whatnot. So let's just quickly go back to the chapter 14 of the main topic of today's video. So let's just go on to the 14.1, customizing builds with release profiles. So what are release profiles? What does this means? So in Rust, release profiles are predefined and customizable profiles with different configurations that allow a programmer to have a more control over various options for compiling code. Each profile is configured independently of the others. So what does this mean? That release profile are these are the customizable profiles. So let's say if a programmer has some different profile on while on the work, he has different profiles. He can use that specific profile for their personal projects. Come they can build with some customizations or work with different profile, you can say. So to have a more control over various options for compiling code. So it's more towards the side of compilation process. Cargo has two main profiles, the dev profile Cargo uses when you run cargo build, and the release profile Cargo uses when you run cargo build minus minus release. The dev profile is defined with good defaults for development, and the release profile has good defaults for release build. So whenever you want to publish your package in the crate, you will run this command cargo build minus minus release. So what this has, it will take a lot of time to build your whole crate, but with this normal command for the development, it is a better way to work with, because initially you don't want to build or build all the targets or all the crates and everything. Instead, you just have to build the project to just optimize. This cargo build will not run the optimized build. This is pretty much it. So cargo has default settings for each one of the profiles. So how you can add these settings, you can directly opt for profile.dev, opt level, and profile.release, opt level 3. So the option level will be from 0 to 3. So let me show you. The opt level setting controls the number of optimizations Rust will apply to your code with a range of 0 to 3. So this is the theoretical topic. Let's just quickly get this command, because it will take some time to build the project. So instead, uh, let's just quickly do cargo run. Oh, sorry, cargo build. This is the development build. You can see it took around 0.52 seconds. What if I run the cargo build minus minus release? What? And you can see it's building all the crates, whatever crates I have in my target directory. You can see color choice, streams, and so on and so forth. So that's why we have two different profiles, like for development, for release. Let's just quickly go on to the 14.2, how we can publishing a crate to crates.io. We have used packages from crates.io as dependencies of our project, but you can also share your code with other people by publishing your own packages. We are on around 26 minutes mark. The crate registry at crates.io distributes the source code of your packages. So it primarily hosts code that is open source. Rust and Cargo have features that make your published package easier for people to find and use. We will talk about some of these features next and then explain how to publish a package. Making useful documentation comments. So we have already discussed that, sorry. So we have already discussed that we can pass the comments, or we can uh, add the comments by using double slash. And for the documentation comments, we can pass triple slash, so that Rust knows that this is the documentation comment, and double slash, it means that this is the internal comment for, let's say, the developers or who will use this project. So let's say worth investing the time to write documentation. In chapter 3, we discuss how to comment Rust code using two slashes. Rust also has a particular kind of comment for documentation known conveniently as a documentation comment that will generate HTML documentation. So now here you can see triple slash, and you can add the function whatever you want as a documentation. And then after that, after adding the documentation comment, let's just quickly do this. Main.rs, come here. CLI parse, or these CLI arguments to, let's say, search for a word in file. Let's just quickly add, let's say, query to query a word to search and query a word, or let's say file path where each word, or file path which will be considered as the default argument if nothing or what. So now if you want to create document, run the command cargo doc minus minus open. Here you can see it's building your profile. I'll remove the, let's just, it's taking some time. So let's go back to the documentation. Commonly used sections. We use the examples markdown heading. So it will work same as the markdown. So you have to pass hashtag, double hashtag will be considered as hash 2, hash 3, and if you have uh, some understanding of HTML and Markdown, you understand this better. So panics, the scenarios in which the function being documented could panic. Callers of the function who don't want their programs to panic should make sure they don't call the function in these situations. All right, we have the documentation here. Create lecture 12. Lecture 12 is our create. Structs, how many structs are we using or we have created? We have only one struct, the config. I have clicked on the config and you can see we have all the details of that specific struct. Pub struct, config, query, file path, fields are query and file path. Implementations of this, we have only one implementation, the new function, auto trade implementations. And here you can see the magic of Rust. Cool. So we have only one trade, query, and file path. So it's also saying that these both of these are required methods. Let's just go back. We have two functions, read files, search query. Go click on the function. You can see the implementation here. This is so cool. So let's get back to the documentation here. Errors, if the function returns a result describing the kinds of errors that might occur and what conditions might cause those errors to be returned, can be helpful to callers. So this is pretty much theory. So they are testing it. They so by adding the exclamation mark to the beginning of any of the of your documentation commit. So what does it do? Let me show you. Yeah, right here. The style of doc comment with exclamation mark adds documentation to the item that contains the comments rather than to the items following the comments. We typically use these doc comments inside the create root file by convention or inside a module to document the create or the module as a whole. So we have pass with exclamation mark my create. So where is my create? Here you can see it's it will be considered as a different grade object. Later we will learn about what are workspaces, so it will be used there. So I have passed exclamation my grade is a collection, so it is separated out, and then the normal comments. All right. So exporting a convenient public API with pub use. So how you can, the structure of your public API is a major consideration when publishing a crate. People who use your crate are less familiar with the structure than you are and might have difficulty finding the pieces they want to use if your crate has a large module is hierarchy. So in chapter 7, we covered how to make items public using the pub keyword and bring items. So these are the pretty much topics that we have already covered. So it's saying that how we can add the word use, how we can use the command, oh sorry, the syntax pub use, and so on and so forth. So the good news is that if the structure isn't convenient for others to use from another library, you don't have to rearrange your internal organization. Instead, you can re-export items to make a public structure that's different from your private structure by using pub use. So let's say if struct has or a public API has, let's say you have some kind of thing which is private. So let's say it's internal for you, so it's perfectly fine. If you want to make the private structure as public to be accessed or exported by public API, you have to use this word public use, pub use. Here we go, use create kinds. This is the pub module, utils, use create kinds, and then this is the implementation of a function, and so on and so forth. Everything is public. It can be accessed by you can see the public API. Let's just quickly adding metadata to a new crate. If you want to add a metadata means name, author name, like same like this way. Where's the documentation? Where's the um, da-da-da. Where was the name? Quick name. All right, here you can see create name. It's kind of a macro. Let me show you. Macro.createname.html. It's redirecting me to that specific page, and this is a macro. Command new and create name. It's fast like that. But what we are talking about right now, we are talking about the metadata of a crate. Let's just quickly go back to the documentation right here. Package name, what we can name any of the thing. We can add the license, MIT license, version. We can add the version, edition, description, who is the author of that uh, library or the crate. So let's just quickly publish our crate. What do we have to do for publishing? So first of all, we have to log in, run the command cargo login. How to do this? Let's just quickly go on the crates.io and start by logging in. After logging, after login, go back to the account settings, API tokens, and here you have you can create new token. Click on the new token, add the name, publish, give the access to publish new crates, publish, update, and so on and so forth, or give all the permissions if you want. But change owners is not required, so let's just give the permission, add the name, and then generate token. After generating the token, just copy the command, sorry, copy the token. Let's just revoke this. You have this kind of input box, new token. Let me just quickly do YouTube rest. I'll revoke the token, that's why I'm uh, showing it to public. Yeah, right here, like this. You can copy this code and let's just clear cargo login. Click on that. Please paste the token found on crates.io. Let's just add this and login token for crates.io saved. After recording this video, I will revoke this token, so don't worry about that. So let's just go back to the documentation. Here we are adding metadata. If let's just quickly get these version and the edition. Cargo.toml. We have a version and edition by default, and let's just run this command cargo publish. What will happen next? Cargo publish. Here we are, five files in the working directory contains changes that were not yet committed into Git. So we haven't committed into Git. To proceed despite this and include the uncommitted changes, pass allow minus allow dirty. So it's suggesting that you have to commit all this code to GitHub and then run the command cargo publish. Instead, I don't want to commit my code and push my code to GitHub. Let's just run the command cargo publish, and it's updating packages, compiling. Let's just quickly, all right, publishing a new version of an existing crate. You can change any of the thing or run the command cargo publish again by updating any of the thing. To yank a version of a crate in the directory of the crate that you have previously published, run cargo yank and specify which version you want to yank. What does this yank mean? Yanking a version prevents new projects from depending on that version, while allowing all existing projects that depend on it to continue. Let's say if some projects are dependent on a specific version, so it will allow to continue with that version. Essentially, a yang means that all projects with cargo lock will not break, and any future cargo lock files generated will not use the yanked version, the updated version. Failed to publish registry to caused by the remote server responded with an error 400. A verified email address is required to publish crates to crates IO. Um, let's just go to set and verify your email. Let me just do it really quick. All right, resend. So it has sent me the email to verify my identity. Let's just quickly verify. All right, so I have verified the email. Let's just rerun this command, cargo publish, and it's rebuilding everything. Let's just go back to the documentation, and then let's move on to the next topic, cargo workspaces. As you remember that we have discussed initially that cargo workspaces is used to manage workspaces into your bigger projects. So creating a workspace is a set of packages that share the same cargo.log file and output directly. Let's make a project. So we have a single cargo.log file in the root directory, and the other crates will use that specific or the same cargo.log file in their respective workspace or the crate. Make directory, they have created a directory of name add. To create a workspace, add this into next in the directory. We create the cargo.toml that will configure. This file won't have a package section. Instead it will start with a workspace section. So we have a workspace section. Resolver is equals to 3. Cargo new adder. We have created a new project adder. So in the root we have cargo.log, cargo.toml, and inside that we have a create adder. For now we have a project adder, and let's just add a file. Oh, okay, they have created a library file, so let's just do the same in our project too. Missing or empty metadata fields, description and license is required. Let's just quickly license is equals to MIT, and the description would be a CLI project filled with, let's say, lab. All right, what happened? Expected. All right. Mm, Let's just get back to the documentation. So let's just quickly add a workspace into our project. Wait for this build. All right, the version v1 is published. So let me show you how where it is. Let's just go back to the crates.io. Click on the browse all crates. All right, go back to the crates.io. Here you can see new crate lecture 12. And if I click on this lecture 12, a CLI project built with crate, clap crate, and we have let's say lecture 2024 edition, less than a minute crate. We have the command how you others can install. All right, one more thing. What's the difference between cargo add and cargo install? So cargo install, let me do this thing. What's the difference between cargo install? Cargo install versus cargo run. Oh, and so this command cargo install, it will install the, let's say, crate into your binary, or the, let's consider it globally into your PC. So it will be added into your, it will be added, this package will be added into your global direct paths kind of a thing. Same as we usually do it in with npm install, let's say yarn minus minus global, or npm install pnpm minus minus global. Same as we do in with npm. Let's, and the cargo add will install package within your install the grade within your package or project. So let's say I have a project lecture 12, and inside that it will add, let's say, any of the grade I want. So it's the simplest thing. Cargo install will install it globally, add will add it into your project, the directory. And owners, Hadi header, versions published, and so on. So forth. Let's just go on in the settings. What we have in settings. Why it's taking some time. All right, great. Not found. So let's just wait because of my internet. So let's just add a workspace really quick. Cargo.toml, and inside this cargo.toml, we can add a section workspace, and then let's say resolver is equals to 3. If you want, let's just add resolver 3, and inside that you can create multiple projects. Let's say cargo new workspace 1. Let's just remove this resolver. Now here you can see it's automatically added. Members is equals to workspace 1. If I try to add another workspace, cargo add, oh sorry, cargo new workspace 2. Here you can see workspace is added here. Workspace 2 is added here. There is no any cargo.log file here, no any cargo log file here. All of these workspaces using the same cargo.log file kind of a thing. Okay. So it's kind of better to manage bigger projects at once. So let's just go to the next 14.4, installing binaries from crates.io with cargo install command. All right, so internet is back. Let's just go to the 14.4. Oh, all right, so installing binaries with cargo install. The cargo install command allows you to install and use binary crates locally. This isn't intended to replace system packages. It's meant to be convenient way for us developers to install tools that others have shared on crates.io. Note that you can only install packages that have binary targets. So a binary target is the runnable program that is created if the crate has a main.rs file or another file specified as binary, as opposed to a library target that isn't runnable on its own. So cargo install can be runnable, which has main.rs, or if we do, if a crate does not have a main.rs file, it can only and cannot be runnable. So we used, it will not be called as a binary target or binary. All binaries installed with cargo install are stored in the installations roots bin folder. If you install Rust using Rust up and don't have any custom configuration, this directory will be home cargo, and that's so. So they are showing you the example cargo install rip grab, which is used to get the searching for the files. So let's go to the next one, and let's see what we have in settings. So here you can delete this crate because we don't want this unwanted crate to be published on crates.io. So we should make it developer friendly platform. So let's just delete this crate. I don't want, for testing. Let's just delete this. Create lecture 12 has been successfully deleted. All right. So at last, we have extending cargo with custom commands. Cargo is designed so you can extend it with new subcommands without having to modify it. If a binary in your path is named cargo something, you can run it as if it were a cargo subcommand by running cargo something. So summary, sharing code with Cargo and crates.io is part of what makes the Rust ecosystem useful for many different tasks. Rust standard library is small and stable, but crates are easy to share and use and improve on a timeline. Different from that of the language, don't be shy about sharing code that's useful to you on crates.io. It's likely that it will be useful to someone else as well. So this is pretty much it. Let's just do one thing, cargo readme. So let's just install this command, cargo install readme, to build the readme automatically, same as we have the documentation. Here you can see cargo readme and readme.md. It will, let's take the following Rust doc. Running cargo readme will output the following. It will automatically output the readme file. Let's just quickly run this command cargo readme. So it means that it will create a readme file in the root of your project. Let's wait for a few seconds. Cargo.toml. Here we have lecture 12. Instead, we will rename it CLI Lab. Let's just rename everything. It's taking a while. Let's wait for a few minutes. All right, it's successfully executed. Let's just run command cargo readme and readme file. So here you can see the output file is here, readme.md file. We have a package clab, CLI clab, and license is MIT. So there is no documentation here. Let's just quickly get back to the documentation of readme. Here they are saying, let's take the following Rust doc and then let's just, for now, let's just copy this doc and then paste it here. Now, expected outer doc comment, inner doc comments like this, starting with exclamation mark, can only appear before items. You might have meant to write a regular comment. So let's just move it to the top before everything else. Cargo readme.md, go back to the readme.md file. And as well as add this into the lib. Here we have, this is my awesome crate. Here goes some other description of what it is and what it does. We have it here. So we can add the documentation in the lib.rs file. Let's say this is uh, this is lib.rs. Let's say we have two functions, search and let's say read file, run the command, go back to the readme file. We have the updated comments. So this is pretty much it from this documentation as well. We don't have this cargo readme command. You won't be able to find this in the this Rust language book. You have to, if you want, you can get the Rust language book by from O'Reilly. So this is a great book. You can learn from that as well. So here we have, but grades are easy to share, use, and improve on a timeline. Don't be shy about sharing the code. It's likely that it will be useful to someone else as well. Same as we do have packages in the JavaScript, React, or Next.js as well. So this is pretty much it from this video. So if you have any other suggestions, you can also share with me on in the comment box, or directly share it on my social. So I would love to uh, get I would love to get the suggestions, and if there is a suggestion about any of the thing like recording a separate video on separate topic, I would love to do that. If you have any feedback on the videos, let's say there is anything about microphone, voice, or anything like speed or what, so you can share it with me. I would love to consider all your queries, all your thoughts. So this is pretty much it. I hope you have learned a lot of stuff from this video. Would love to see you in our next video. Till then, bye.